right, guys, new day, new boat ramp. We're not launching off the beach today. Vámonos.
It's nicer than most ramps I use in Florida.
It is.
Honestly.
So every morning, we get a ride in the Tundra. Pretty cool rod rack. Look at this thing right here. Holds all our rods up there. And the last 2 days we spent popping, a little bit of jigging. We were trying to really get on the cuberas. We did have shots at cuberas, we did have shots at roosterfish, but today we're gonna jig. A couple of the other groups who were here yesterday, they did pretty good on jigging. They got a cubera on a jig, they got broomtail grouper, a bunch of cool species that I've never got on a jig. And the reason we don't use the boat ramp every day is because of the tides. I guess it's either too low or too high sometimes, but today's just right. Good luck, Patos.
See you, man.
See
Bye.
you.
See you.
Good luck.
Good day. Good luck.
Gracias.
Carrada, ¿no? Oh, it's okay. Están por aquí a la orilla del río.
Crocodile? Crocodile?
Sí, hay cocodrilos. Para arriba, un poco a la marea seca, todo la arena solamente. Cocodrilo arriba, para arriba, no aquí.
No crocodile here.
No.
This is the mouth of the little inlet or pass, whatever you want to call it. And you guys can see it's super shallow on that side, super shallow on that side, and that's why I guess you can only use it certain times of the day or maybe certain times of the year. Definitely the roughest it's been since we've been here, which is less than ideal for jigging because you ideally want to be vertical with your line. Here we got some local commercial fishermen right here. Look at that, no rods or reels needed, just hand lines. No, that's not a
fish in a rod.
Fishing. No roca, que poco pescador, eh?
Javier. Yeah, you do have a fish.
Something nice. Nice fish.
Shark, no?
No.
No.
Maybe a tuna? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonito.
Albacora posible. Albacora. Tuna blanco.
What is tuna blanco?
How weird was that start?
Albacora.
Albacore. Oh, albacore. Bonito.
No bonito.
False albacore.
No bonito. Bonito no tiene. Este sí. Este te muerde clean.
Yeah, no lines on it, right?
Mucho fuerte. Albacora. Hello,
That doesn't look like a bonito.
No.
No bonito.
Snagged it. That's why it's acting
Yep.
so weird.
Yep. That's why you thought it was snagged on bottom.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's
Oh.
like the ones, like the
Yeah,
new
good
bonito.
eating right there. Here, sashimi.
Sí.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Scott. Oh, on the way up.
This is a nice one.
Oh my gosh, dude, they're hitting it on the way up.
Más velocidad.
Rápido, yeah.
No quiere slow. A veces slow y tranqui, bang. Pero a veces velocidad.
I think I got a tuna blanco.
Yeah, I might too. Yeah, I think it's.
Tuna blanco, no?
Man, they fight hard.
Yeah, they do. They brawl compared to a bonita. Heck yeah. Same thing.
Wow, that's a freaking big one. This is not a fish I expected to see on this trip, you?
No, not at all.
This is like the same bonita that you see in the Northeast, I think.
Yep.
And I've never caught one.
And
Wicked teeth.
Yes.
So far, 2 fish on 2 drops and 2 really cool fish. Not really what we're after, but it's a good start to the morning.
What we call, these are like the actual bonito you get in the Northeast, but they call them tuna blanco over here. Albacore. Look at the teeth on them. They do. Scott said that they look like mini dogtooth tuna all the way. No más tuna blanco.
A mí.
¿Y?
Sí, yo
Yeah.
con mi familia tengo
Okay.
4 niños.
Oh
Mi
yeah.
esposa, sí.
Hitting it. Yep. So Scott and I are ideally trying to stay on bottom, but we cannot stay away from either the bonitas or the tuna blancos, which are kind of higher up on the water column. Woo! Oh, that's a good one.
Another good one.
Oh yeah, it's a fish, dude.
We're both on.
Oh yeah.
Pichi, no roca.
Yeah, no rock. I thought it was a rock.
I'm off.
That's scoping up. I think it's gonna be a some type of pelagic.
Another one?
Yeah. Yeah. They like the más grande jig too.
Sí. Mejor baja gramos.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's a big one.
These are big.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
I feel like it's another one of the bonito.
Yep. Oh,
What type of fish?
it's some type of jack trevally or something. Nice hit on the popper. And the reason you guys don't see any drag being pulled is because we're fishing that cubera drag. Make sure they don't go in the hole. I don't know. Yeah, this is some type of jack species. All right, hooked up. First fish on the popper for me today. We were jigging a bunch offshore, but it was too rough. So we came inside and started jigging away. I think it might be a jack crevalle. I would be completely content even just catching these things all day long. Yesterday, Chris got a beautiful bluefin trevally. This is a species very familiar to us in Florida. Big old jack crevalle. There's a big school of bait here on this rock. And I was just casting the popper and the popper just disappeared. No hesitation. Just full throttle hit it. And that's what it's all about.
One big difference from these compared to the ones in Florida, there's like no yellow at all.
No.
On the Pacific ones.
And it was the same thing in Mexico. I caught a few of these in Mexico, and jack crevalle, they're like a little different subspecies. So let's go back in, buddy. Whoop.
Strong release.
Oh yeah. And that's the cool thing about fighting them on such tough drag, is they don't have a chance to tire themselves out. You get them in 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Sail, sail. Oh my gosh, look. Sailfish, sailfish.
Come on.
Oh my gosh. Come on, eat it, eat it, eat it. Oh!
Come on.
You need a stick bait or something. What do I have?
Yeah, I might just have a jack.
Oh, Javier, you saw the sailfish? It's so awkward for him to eat it though, I think.
There's a big one too, dude.
Big jack?
No, the sail.
Yeah. Nice eye on these fish, Scott.
Yeah, that almost really turned into a home run.
Marlin, sailfish that got a bill. He was trying to smack it with his bill. He was trying to smack it with his bill, but he couldn't get it in his mouth. Look at that. I think that's from him. Maybe.
I think it is.
See?
Yeah, just
There's
like
like
the wickets. It's up and down the whole bait.
Yep. He definitely hit it. Well, that's what they would do. They try to kill their bait and then they eat it dead. But this is actually really common over here. Not this time of year. They get a massive sardine run all up and down the coast, and that's when they get the really big yellowfin tuna. So it's kind of like a transitional time of year where there's not as many species, but there's still some sardines around. Because from what I've seen, videos and pictures, this much bait is usually loaded with roosterfish and tuna, and it's just whitewater everywhere. Oh! He's so close. He thinks we're gonna give him food because there was a boat out here that was chumming and he probably snagged a few, but no food from us, buddy. We got jigs only. Look at him, he just makes his lap and then he goes to you. So a couple things we really learned on this trip. We brought a ton of lures, but out of all the poppers and stuff we brought, there's probably like 3 really solid ones. Scott brought this one and was nice enough to let me use it the entire time. The only cuberas we've raised have been on that one, right?
Yeah. I think it's the color and then the profile. It's just a big lure. It kicks a huge splash. It seems like the heavier the lure is, the better they stay in the water. And with the really big swallows that exist here, the smaller lures don't stay in the water at all.
One thing we've definitely noticed, I personally don't think that cuberas care how big the lure is. I think what it is they're on bottom, right? And you're fishing a reef that's 40 to 80 feet. You need to make enough noise and throw enough water and create enough commotion to get their attention. You're not gonna do that with a little popper. And it's got a huge lip. It could literally make or break your trip. Like if you didn't have good poppers with you, there's a sailfish jumping right behind you, Scott. Look, see him?
Oh,
It's way off in the distance. Look, Javier, sailfish. You see him? 3 days of fishing so far, we've had 2 or 3 cubera bites, 5 rooster fish bites between 3 guys, so you have to make every single moment count. And the more time you can spend in the water with an effective lure, the more chances you're gonna get. And this fishing is really comes down to, you know, less than a dozen chances per person for the entire trip. Is that the biggest one you've seen here, Melissa?
I think the grouper,
Wow.
grouper is the biggest. We've
That's
seen
big.
Tuna, of course, big tuna.
That thing is definitely.
I thought it was 30 pounds when I saw it off the boat. This thing's massive. It's easy 50 pounds. Huge broomtail grouper.
It's pretty much just like
Oh,
a black
wow.
grouper with a crate.
I know Chris really wants to catch one. I mean, we all do, but this is like high up on his list. He's caught rooster fish before. He's caught cuberas. He's never caught one of these.
Gnarly fish.
Dude, look at that tail.
Look at the size reference.
Yep. There's 2 human hands. That's the broomtail grouper right there. The gnarliest fish. Even these things, look at their anal fin and their dorsal fin.
It's gonna be a
Huge
very
fins.
interesting looking fillet.
He said they tried to revive it for 40 minutes. They wanted to release it. Have you cooked this one before?
This one?
Yeah.
Yep.
You like it?
Yeah, it's good. But they don't bring it that much because of that.
That's
Yeah. There's no missing the jig. Look at that mouth.
No, if he eats, he's getting hooked. And that's all soft.
Yeah.
The mouth. Actually, no, it's not. Smaller scales than the snapper.
Yep. Even though it's bigger.
Yeah.
The scales of the snapper here in Panama, they use it to do some jewelry. Let's call it
Really?
like that. Yeah, for the national typical dress.
Wow,
La pollera, they put it on the head and they use the big snapper scales.
that's awesome. Yeah, they're huge. Not surprising. I wonder, actually, look. Yeah, so here's the scales of one of those snapper from yesterday.
Oh yeah, that was from the...
Dude, it's
Like-
huge.
Up on the wall there, but I don't think there's many that are much bigger than
No. And they caught this fish in 50 feet of water. That's the amazing part, too.
Slow
On a
jigging.
little jig, 30-pound braid, little 100-gram jig.
You might be able to hook them bigger, but you can't land them bigger, especially on the route that they landed that on.
He said it
It's
was a
very
10-minute
impressive.
fight with lockdown drag, which is just
Yeah.
pretty crazy to think about.
For,
And they-
for just 50, 60 foot.
They did want to release it, but they said that it kept floating up. They tried to revive it for 40 minutes. 40 minutes they tried to revive this thing.
Yeah, they gave it
Fred gave me the honors of filleting this fish. He's the head chef here, makes some killer food at the Panafishing Lodge. And he's letting me fillet this up. And you guys know how much I like to fillet fish, so let's see what we got.
Freddie
Big.
already did all the dirty work scaling this thing. It took
Yeah.
like 10 minutes.
The
A
worst
lot
part.
of scales.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that it hits smaller scales than like the 5-pound snapper.
We were talking about that. Fred was saying how the bigger scales from the snapper they'll use for jewelry.
Really?
Yeah, I've got it all from earlier.
Dude, they got a tough skin.
Probably why that cheek was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wow. This is what Fred was talking about earlier when he was saying they use the snapper scales for jewelry.
That's incredible.
That's very, very cool. Cool way to make no waste at all of the fish.
There we go. See? This guy's gonna have a giant rib cage, huge pin bones.
Just hear him. Huge.
Filleting big fish is actually easier in terms of the fillet. It's just holding everything up. That's hard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit it from the other side.
The throat meat on this must be huge too.
Mm-hmm.
Best white meat fish in this entire area to eat.
Really?
And it's very
The broomtail?
frequent that they have these things
The
come
lodge.
back to the lodge because almost every single time they're released, but this fish they tried to release it for 40 minutes with no success, so they just ended up bringing it back. That one. And that's just one of many.
Look at that rib cage. I mean, that spine. It's huge.
Yeah, massive.
Oh,
That's a tough fish.
Look at that slab of meat. That's a big grouper, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the gnarliest rib cages I've dealt with on a fish. Getting your knife through this thing is no joke. You see this thing? It's like half his body is his rib cage.
This is also not the same one as those.
This is from the other group. This is Pato and them, the Peruvians. They got this snapper. Looks very similar to kind of like our dog snapper or something. And then this guy right here. I think they call this a yellowtail, don't they, Scott?
Yeah, I think so.
It's pretty crazy. You go a little bit south to Central America, the snappers change that much. I think these two are the same. And then you got your, what we in the States call bonito, but they call blanco tuna here. Tuna blanco. One thing that I found really interesting, I fished in a lot of places now, and this is the first place in my life I fished where there's 0 ice on the boat. But this is how a lot of like Central America and South America works, and you guys have done it before where there's no ice on the boat, right?
Yeah, I think we've disproven the theory that 2 hours not on ice is enough time to
fresh and
maybe
salt
food
too.
poisoning.
Like not just saltwater fish. We've seen freshwater fish from like 90-degree water bake in the bottom of an aluminum boat
For 10 hours.
for 10 hours, and
You guys have eaten.
Like the
haven't
fish
you?
are then partially cooked before you even fillet them.
yes, and
They-
nothing bad happens. So yeah,
But that's not medical advice.
no,
No.
we are not suggesting that, but in a pinch, it's doable.
But our bonitos have not been on ice for a very long time.
How does
Probably
it change?
like, probably like 8 hours.
Our yellowfin though, the other night, we all loved it. Everyone at the resort loved it. And it was not on ice, and it was delicious, right?
How does it change the meat not being on ice? Like, is the
I think
firmness any different?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be less firm. See, this is why they call it blanco tuna. Look at that. It's white meat on the bonito. I've only ever had this one time by us trolling planers, and it was good. It was actually pretty delicious. I remember it was very, very flaky. Look at that.
The distinct difference
It's
between not
super-
putting it on ice
Yeah.
is it looks much softer initially.
It does.
And then you put it in the fridge and it firms right up.
Absolutely. You guys see, this is definitely a softer tuna, but like it doesn't even smell at all. And this has not been on ice all day. Way back in the day, they didn't put anything on ice. Ice is a modern concept. It's literally like in the last 100 years, people started refrigerating stuff.
It's a trend.
Yeah, it'll die out.
Like, what are you holding in your right hand? That's
This
kind
is
of
a
neat.
Dexter 6-inch.
How could I get one?
You guys are really good influencers. You guys can save 20% off. Use my code LANDSHARK in the description box below at dexteroutdoors.com.
That's awesome.
I like these guys. We gotta film more.
That's great to know. I would get one, but I already have one.
For a long time because they're the best knives, aren't they?
Yeah, I've had the same one for like 8 years.
Isn't there's I don't know about you. You know how like you get satisfaction of a muskie eating your lure?
You
I
get
get-
satisfaction flopping a fillet in the
I get
table.
so much satisfaction out of filleting a fish, so much, especially when it comes out good. Woo! Man, they make this onion strong in Panama. Ginger. And if you take any one of these bits and put it in the ground, it'll grow another ginger.
Is that true?
No. But I fooled you, didn't I? It's not the juiciest. I've seen juicier, but it's not the worst. I've seen drier.
What would you put on the LJS?
The lime juice scale?
Yeah.
Wow. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
The lime juice scale? I put it at a 6 out of 10.
That's good enough.
Yeah, that's plenty. Bonito, aka Tuna Blanco, aka whatever Javier calls it. He had like 14 different names for it. We got a little bit of red onion, cucumber, ginger, whatever leftover lime juice Melissa gave us. And we're gonna go in with some coconut milk. About that much. We're gonna do a little play on kind of like a little crudo style dish. That's real hot.
A little bit.
1,
I mean, the coconut's not
2,
gonna be hot at all.
3, 4, 5. For now. I'm gonna do a little rice vinegar. What do we have that's sweet and fruity?
Chris.
Wow, that was good. We're gonna do a little bit of orange juice to sweeten it up. Now we cut. Another time. It actually looks really good. I just want to try it completely raw first. Let's see. I'm telling you, the texture is like nothing else. Should probably get
This will sound sarcastic, but it's soft yet dense. It somehow has both sides of the equation.
It's you guys got to try it for yourselves. It's like any other fish you've ever had, probably. You want to try it?
Yeah, I want to try it.
Space tuna? Are you gonna make the phrase space tuna?
Definitely could use a little sweat. Try it. It's got a tuna flavor, doesn't it? It's a fatty piece of tuna.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it.
Yeah?
Fatty tuna.
Do you
Sounds
approve?
good. Oh yeah.
You want to try, Scott?
Didn't hurt.
Ginger never hurt anyone.
There's no bite to it at all.
No,
It's really good.
in your mouth.
It tastes just like tuna. I don't even feel like it's like
space tuna.
Yeah, definite space tuna. It doesn't taste all that different from the yellowfin we just ate a couple days ago. Definitely.
Look, Fred's like, you guys are crazy. It's nowhere near as good as the yellowfin.
Yeah, it's not.
You don't like it?
Not that much. I'm not that fan of that bonito. We only got like one dish that we do with that white tuna, right? Like the
White tuna.
tartar.
Yeah.
It's noticeably softer than it just was as sashimi. I like the taste.
I do.
I do too. I didn't want to put it in lime juice because then it's going to cook it. Can't lie, it's not my favorite fish, but it's good. Certainly good. I mean, you guys always ask, it's like Scott always asks me, do you ever fake anything on video like for catch and cooks? I'm like, no. I straight up tell you if I don't like something. I like it, it's not my favorite. If we caught something else today, would we have maybe not kept the bonito? Probably, but it's definitely good, not the best.
But there's like not a lot to it. It just kind of breaks apart in your mouth instead of really holding its texture.
Like I'm paying much more attention to the cucumber and onion in here. It's almost like the space tuna is forgettable.
I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Still have some amazing catches coming at you from Panama. Still have 2 videos left. Till the next one, guys. See ya.